Chapter 2. Talk of a journey never before undertaken. It was frozen in place. Professor Liedenbrock was determined to make a journey to the center of the earth. I thought it was nonsense. Alex, he said, I could not have done this without you. Rest assured that you will share in the glory of this discovery, but we must keep it a secret. Do you really think anyone would take this seriously? I asked. Of course. Any geologist would rush to follow the footsteps of Saknussemm, he replied. But we have no proof that this document is real, I said. That is what we shall see. What are your concerns? Speak as a colleague, not as a nephew. I asked him to explain the words Jokul, Sneffel, and Scartaris, which I had never heard. He referred to a map. My uncle pointed to volcanoes, which are called Jokuls in Iceland. Near Reykjavik, there was a mountain named Sneffel. It is 5,000 feet high. Its crater leads down to the center of the earth, he exclaimed. But that is impossible, I said. Why? Asked my uncle severely. Because this crater is evidently filled with lava and burning rocks, and therefore there has been only one eruption, in 1219. It is no longer considered an active volcano, he said. I could hardly argue with him. What is the meaning of Scartaris, and what have the calends of July to do with it? I asked. My uncle said the calends of July were the last few days in June. During that time, the shadow cast by one of the peaks of Scartaris would fall onto the crater that led to the center of the earth, according to Saknussemm's message. Well then, I said, I'm forced to admit that Saknussemm's sentence is clear. But as for reaching the center of the earth, he did not achieve it. I did not believe that he had ever made a journey and returned. What's your reason? Asked my uncle. It would be impossible to make a journey, due to the intense heat at the Earth's center and the pressure one would encounter traveling to it, I said. No one knows for sure what is going on in the interior of this globe. Science is not perfect. Every new theory is soon replaced by a newer one, he said. We will now have an opportunity to discover the truth or fiction of these theories. I was beginning to see his position. You see, he added, there is no proof at all of this internal heat. My opinion is that there is no such thing. Besides, we shall see for ourselves. Very well, we shall see, I replied, feeling myself carried off by his enthusiasm. That is, if it is possible to see anything at all. Can't we depend upon electric light? May we not even expect light from the atmosphere? Yes, I said, that is possible too. It most certainly will be true, exclaimed my uncle triumphantly. But don't say a word about the whole business. No one should discover the center of the earth before we do. After this, I had to get some fresh air. I walked without direction, but soon found I was on the road to Atlanta. On my way, I bumped into Gretchen, who was already on her way home. I told her of all that had happened. We walked on silently for some time. When we returned home, I expected to find my uncle asleep, but instead he was shouting and ordering porters and messengers about it. Alex, your boxes are not packed. We must prepare it, he bellowed. Are we really going? I asked in shock. Of course. What have you been wasting your time doing? He asked. We leave the day after tomorrow. Of course. What have you... I couldn't believe it. I went into my room and closed the door. My uncle had spent the day making travel arrangements and purchasing the tools and apparatuses we needed for this trip. Of course. What have you been wasting your time doing? He asked. We leave the day after tomorrow. I couldn't believe it. I went into my room and closed the door. My uncle had spent the day making travel arrangements and purchasing the tools and apparatuses we needed for this trip. The hallway of the house was cluttered with rope ladders, knotted cords, torches, flasks, grappling irons, pickaxes, and iron-shod sticks. It was a long, awful night. The next morning, although I didn't want to face it, Gretchen's sweet voice called at my door. My dear Alex, she said as I came out of my room, are you feeling better? I spoke with Uncle Otto about all of his plans. He will no doubt succeed. You will participate in the greatest scientific journey ever undertaken. When you return, you will be his equal and highly regarded, she said as her cheeks blushed. We went into my uncle's study. In spite of my attempts to discourage him, he said we would leave at once. He wanted to arrive in time to see the shadow of Scartaris touch the crater of Snæfell. At 5:30 in the morning there was a rattle of wheels outside. A large carriage was there to take us to the railway station. It was soon piled with our supplies and traveling cases. My uncle told Gretchen that she was in charge of the estate until our return. She kissed her guardian. I could see the tear in her eye when she touched my cheek. I asked her to be my wife. Gretchen, I sighed. Go, Alex, go. When you come back, I will be your wife, Gretchen said. I hugged her and took my place in the carriage. Martha and Gretchen, standing at the door, waved their last farewell. Then the horses started off.